I do truly appreciate the honor, and especially because I know how hard it is to evaluate board members and especially chairmen. Boards are typically quite inclusive. They don't talk about their routines and practices and the working spirit to the outside world. It's not considered proper. And boards evaluate themselves typically through self-evaluation. And I think it's actually very healthy to be more open as to how the boards work. And I welcome the idea that somebody external would help the boards by applying some external pressure and external evaluation methods on them. I'm quite sure that I'm not the best chairman in the Nordics. But I definitely do try to aspire to be as good as I can. And I think that in a good board, there are certain aspects that must be kept in mind. And you might not agree with me, but I think there are a number of things. One is that board work should be fun. I think in a good board, we laugh a lot. The meetings are also fun, although they're very much to the point and very practical. And they sort of breathe the good corporate governance concept, but they should be fun. They should also be very educational. I think the idea that one has board members who already know it all is impossible. Nobody knows everything. We actually gain motivation by learning through board work. A board position must be a two-way street. The company gets a lot by getting great board members, but the board members need to get something as well. And it can't be just compensation. A board member who focuses on the compensation is almost by definition a bad board member. One should have a passion about the company's business and an enjoyment from learning more about what the company does and about the world itself through what the company does. I also think that the board work should be very much results oriented. The board needs to think about what is key to the company's success. What is the board's role? It actually needs to be thought about quite frequently because it's such a tough question. And it's easy to say that somebody would tell you that the board's only real job is to pick the CEO. Many people would subscribe to that view. But obviously things are not that simple. A strong board supports the CEO, but also challenges the CEO. A strong board supports the management team, but also challenges the management team. A good board also works with the shareholders, maybe sometimes challenging them as well, in addition to working for them within the company. Board work needs to be very pragmatic. We need to look at things very objectively, very honestly, and with a constructive criticism in our approach. I have had the honor to work as a CEO under two people that I consider great chairmen, but they were completely different. The first one chronologically, and I won't say their names, the first one actually did not spend much time in challenging. He did not necessarily spend a lot of time in getting to know all the pre-material that was sent to the board members before the board meetings. But he had absolute trust in me as the CEO, and I would have gone through hell and high water to prove him right. He motivated me very strongly by having strong trust. And I have no doubt that if the business would have turned south, he would have started looking into the numbers and asking more questions. But it was truly a motivational relationship. Then the second chairman, whom I also consider to have been excellent, he was extremely detail-oriented. He asked hundreds of questions. I was often very tired with the questions and with the answers. And he wanted all the information, but he did it in a very constructive way. And I understood that he had the passion about the company's business, and that was the motivation for asking all the questions. And he never asked the questions in a way that I would have felt that he didn't trust me. And these two completely different approaches both felt, from my point of view, as a CEO, as great chairman. So that just proves that companies are different, people are different, and there are several approaches that can work. And that makes work in the boardroom, both as a director and as chairman, much more interesting, because there's no recipe for success. We need to adapt. But I'd like to thank the organizers again for pointing the focus or the attention, hopefully of the media and the board members, a little bit more on the substance of the board work. I think we need to think more about that. Maybe a little bit less about the corporate governance, a little bit less about the mandatory items, a little bit more about what we can actually do to add value. So thank you very much. I will take the wonderful statue with me with great respect and feel honored by this. Thank you very much.